Welcome to another episode of Mental Wellness Insights. Today we are speaking about addiction, a topic that is very key in our society today, a topic that a lot of people do not want to speak about, and because of a lot of stigma. But we thank God, sadly, we have some people who are able to speak. And today we are having with us Caroline, Kagia. Thank you very much for accepting to do this.
Thank you for having me.
We rarely get people who accept as easily as you did to do this.
It's my pleasure.
But I can assure you this is going to help a lot of people. And also to just tell people that it is okay to speak. Because these are things that everybody, nearly every household is going through.
Yes.
It's only a lot of households want to keep it secret. So thank you very much. Kindly introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Pamela, for having me here. I'm Caroline Kagia, a certified addictions therapist. I am a global speaker and a recovery coach, having recently been certified by NACADA when it comes to the recovery coaching. I'm also a mom to an 18-year-old and a 9-year-old. I am a born-again Christian, and I'm just a happy person. And I'm also in recovery, having struggled with alcoholism for 2 decades.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, before we go to the main story, I would like us to begin at your childhood. Some issues that you went through in childhood. I think this could be a foundation to what came up later in life.
Yeah.
So how was your childhood?
My childhood was pretty alright, though when I think back, I don't seem to remember much. But I come from a middle-income family. Both my parents are alive. I was taken to very good schools. And I remember over the weekends after church, my dad would take us out for lunch. It was just, we came from a good family. And on the holidays, we'd go to Mombasa. My dad would drive us. Those days, there was no SGR or buses. So my dad would drive us from home to Mombasa very early in the morning, and we'd have so much fun. Listening to country music, the likes of Kenny Rogers, it was called Don Williams. So I'm a country lover, country music lover. And I would say my childhood was not bad. My dad he's always been the steady one in our family. I'm the firstborn in a family of 5. My relationship with my mother, unfortunately, was not... I always felt like there was something wrong with that relationship from my childhood. And over the years, it has manifested. So for me, I think I grew up with a lack of affirmation. And now I say it openly because I've healed from that. I grew up with lack of affirmation from a parent, and coming from the point that I am now a parent, I know how lack of affirmation can dent the self-esteem of a child.
Yeah.
A child just wants a hug, or to be told, oh, you look nice, or you look pretty, or you look smart, or But I didn't grow up with that. And it dented me. I'll not speak for my siblings because I'm the one in this. It dented me, and I didn't know. So I grew up with very low self-esteem.
Now, when you talk about your relationship with your mother, what exactly are you talking about? Was your mother too harsh?
She was materially available, emotionally not. When you say harsh, yes. I mean, you could do something small. Children eat sugar. You steal a mandazi, you do something. And it will be called war in that house. We live in the same house, but there'll be no conversation for like a week, a month. No talking, completely. So it was nil by mouth. In fact, those are the words she used to use, nil by mouth. And so you go to primary school, high school, And there's this thing following you, but you don't know what it is. You know, as a child, you don't know. Your emotions are everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't have the words to you don't have the words to put to a certain emotion. And I was privileged to go to private schools throughout. High school, I did my high school, I was in a national school. And I think my love for Jesus started from a very young age. Because I first gave my life to Christ at the age of 10. And it was at a camp actually held by an Anglican church in Mombasa, Kanamai. And that was the first place I played the keyboard for everybody who was there, because I started playing the piano when I was 6 years. And that was the first time I gave my life to Christ. So for me, I've loved Christ for a long time. And I think through all this craziness, he just kept somehow my emotions in check. So I finished high school and I get the privilege of doing my A-levels.
And maybe I take you back a little, back to your mother. Do you think that your mother was this way because of also her upbringing?
Yes, she was. But I think I would like to point out something here. I think it's very wrong for parents to pass on their past baggage onto their children.
Yes, but you will agree with me that sometimes we pass them on without knowing.
We pass them on
because
without knowing.
I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Within her, she loved you. And what she was doing thinking was best for you. But obviously you, as a human being, you did not take it that way.
No.
And she was also, probably she passed through some issues that made her behave that way. And this is what we are saying, that there are things that we do that impact generations. Yeah. If it is not checked.
That's true.
For you, luckily, I'm sure it's now checked. So you are not going to pass it. If you have passed it a little to your children, you are able to retract probably.
One thing I have learned, Pamela, through all the seasons of my life, both good and bad, the power of asking for forgiveness. In my journey, I have done a lot of very bad things. Said a lot of mean things to my children.
Or to your children?
Yes.
Yeah.
Through, when you're struggling with whatever, you say anything to anybody. But over the years, I've learned to humble myself with my children. To say sorry. And sorry is such a powerful word. And this generation is not like us. This Gen Z, I have a Gen Z and an Alpha. This was the last 2 questions.
Yeah. And they'll tell you off.
And they will. Oh my goodness. Why? They tell you off.
Yeah.
And wisdom dictates that you listen to what they're saying.
You listen to what they're saying. So back to where you were, A-levels.
Yes. So I joined A-levels and I get culture shock. Wow. Because now I'm in a school where kids are smoking. They're smoking even with their lecturers. I'm like, where is this? Me? Smoking I used to see on TV, and it was not with people who are our skin color. But now I'm here I'm seeing it firsthand. And they even smoke with their lecturers over smoke break. So me and my self-esteem issues, I am very quiet. I joined school, and there was a girl in my class who really wanted to be my friend. And for the life of me, I could not understand why. This girl was very pretty. She was very popular with the boys. I came to realize why later. She was very popular with the boys. She was a smoker, an African girl from Mount Kenya like me. And so she introduces me to my first cigarette, which actually I did purely out of curiosity. I had never had any inclination towards alcohol or cigarettes. You'd be surprised. Never. However, if I can go back, I remember at some point when I was about 12 years old, there was a place my dad used to take us for lunch after church on Sundays. And that place had a bar. So I would always pretend I'm going to the washroom, but I would find myself going through that place. And I don't know why. It was just dimly lit. Then there was this alcohol, and I would get amazed. Then I would sneak back until I'm going to the toilet, then I come back. So for me, I think that curiosity started at the age of 12. My parents are teetotalers, they got born again in 1990. So now here I've been introduced to my first cigarette. The brand she was smoking, I hated it, so I moved to a menthol brand, which I smoked continually for 19 years.
So after that first cigarette, you continued to...
Yeah, but now, because now we were a clique of girls.
Yeah.
So this one is smoking, this one. So me, I'm trying to fit in. Me, I've never fitted in anywhere. So I'm trying to fit into this group of people. So I didn't like that brand and I moved to menthol. And I smoked menthol continually for 19 years. And I think I got addicted to tobacco very fast, because at some point I would smoke so much, I would try chewing gum. Chewing gum is not helping. So I'd spray my mouth with perfume.
Now, this time you are in high school, in
Form 5, I'm doing my
Form
11th,
5.
yes.
Where do you get money to buy all these
Cigarettes? I would depend on my friend. I don't know where she would get money, that was not my concern. But she always had money. A cigarette stick was 5 shillings at the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I want menthol. How she's smoking lights, I want menthol. So it continued like that. And then at that time, my parents used to keep cows. So and they used to buy hay for the cows. So there was this shamba boy, my brother, my immediate follower and I used to see, he used to roll hay in a paper and smoke. So one day my bro tells me, see, we try what this guy is doing. So we go to the farm, roll it up, light it up. Terrible. Imagine just when you're beginning to think you're enjoying it, we hear a hoot at the gate. Who was dreaming in? My mother. Panic. You know the way children panic when it's the father, not the mother, as it was reversed. Now instead of putting it down and put in the pocket.
You put in the pocket?
Yeah. I think I was in, those were many, I think I was still in primary or somewhere. So we're running up at him now to say hi. She comes out of the car, she sees people are just lighting up. Asking, what's going on here? I think it hit her what we were trying to do. So we were beaten. Properly.
How old were you then?
I think, I can't remember, it was in late primary or high school, I don't remember, somewhere.
Yeah.
So now back to A level. So now I've started smoking. And then I tell her I've never touched alcohol. Now we're discussing about alcohol, sex, boys. Like I said, they came to realize when she's so popular with the boys, she was very generous. Having broken her virginity at a very young age. I was still a virgin at the age of 19. And she knew there was a boy I liked in a certain international school. And we had been friends with that boy for 1 year, nothing, just, friends. She tells me, if you sleep with this boy, I'll bring you a bottle of wine.
You will be paid for sleeping with that.
Imagine. Self-esteem and peer pressure go hand in hand.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, why would one want to reward you for sleeping with that boy?
I think it's just an act of Satan. Because clearly it was not her.
It's not her.
So she's wondering, how can you be a virgin at 19? How she broke hers at 15.
So she wants people to join her.
In this bandwagon of immorality.
Yeah.
Now, low self-esteem go hand in hand with peer pressure and people pleasing.
Yeah.
Now, me, I've always been, by the way, even I'm in my 40s now, and I'm alone. I do things on my own. I don't know how to do things with people. That's how I've grown up.
Yeah.
And I'm so desperate to get into this clique, to finally feel like I belong somewhere. So people pleasing is whereby somebody tells you jump, you ask how high.
Exactly.
And so she tells me to sleep with this boy. When I was in school, it was those days we used to have landlines.
Yeah.
So I call him up and I tell him what I'm thinking, and he's like, what? It had never come up.
You were the one who told
Imagine, we had never had this discussion because it was not worth having a discussion about.
Yeah.
He tells me, are you sure? Tell him, yeah. And he comes from a very influential family. So he knew a few places. So he organized and we went somewhere in Westlands.
So he also easily accepted.
Which boy would say no? Which boy? Which boy? So when I was growing up, there were these romantic books we used to read in high school. The Mills and Boon, Jackie Collins,
yes.
I don't know who. Hey! I used to read those books. I was an avid reader. I've always been a reader.
Yeah.
So I used to read those books and imagine, hey, today's the day. It's going to be like this.
Yeah.
You go to Westlands and do the deed. Pamela Shuen. What they wrote in those books is just fiction. Let's leave it at fiction. I go home, I'm thinking, my God, what have I done? Remember, I got saved at the age of 10.
Yeah.
When I was in Form 2 is normally the make or break for a lot of people.
Yes.
Either you become rebellious or you really move towards Christ.
Yeah.
There is really not much in between. Me in Form 2 had made a vow. I will never touch alcohol. For me, drugs was never in my head.
Yeah.
I'll never touch alcohol. I'll get married a virgin. This is years later. Now I'm a smoker.
Yeah.
I have just committed fornication.
Yeah.
You know, there's a way you can put Christ at the back of your mind when you want to do things that just glorify the flesh. So Monday I go to report to my friend. Hey, she was so excited. You could think she's the one who was in the room with that boy. And true to her word, the following day she brought me alcohol. It was 12% red wine, 250 ml, what people call kakuota, kanusu. She told me, now because you've never touched alcohol, you never drank alcohol, I want you when you go home, you told me you have your own bedroom. You make sure you lock the door and you open the window because alcohol has a smell. Okay?
How long had you known this girl?
Was it like 2 months?
2 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I really wanted to be what she was. I'm telling you, she was like my idol.
Yeah.
Those days news used to be read at 8 p.m. By the way, it's read at 9 now. Here I have the alcohol in my bag. I'm vibrating because I'm thinking, if this thing is caught in my bag, where will I say I've gotten it from? I was picked from school, went home, I did whatever I needed to do, homework, chores. People have gone to sleep. Me, I'm still going around. I'm being asked, why are you awake? I'm like, no, I'm not sure. Me, I'm not even thinking in my head, what if I drink this thing? Because I've seen people who look drunk before. What if I drink this thing and tomorrow when I'm woken up in the morning,
you're drunk?
I don't know what to say. That is not even in my head at that point. Because me, I'm just thinking, finally.
You want time to come, you go and drink.
Yes. And tomorrow is Wednesday. People finally went to sleep. I don't know, mothers are normally the last to sleep. Yeah. I'm realizing it now. Me, I can go around doing nothing. People have gone to sleep, but I'm still walking around the house. I don't know. My son asked me, Mommy, what are you looking for? And I'm like, imagine I don't know. So my mother goes to bed at around midnight. I said, pass. My door, I made sure I locked it like 3 times. Open, close it, open, just in case things go wrong. When then I peep through the hole, I see their light is off, I say, I removed the alcohol from my bag. I remember that day to date, Pamela, as if it was yesterday. I still remember it. I sat on my bed, I opened the window, and I opened the curtain kidogo. Opened it. I opened that bottle. I took the first sip. It was terrible. I took the second one. Yuck. The third one, I took a gulp. Remember, it's kanusu. 12%. I swallowed it. Nothing. Then my immediate follower again. Because he started drinking before me. He used to say, Caro, when you start drinking, if you want to get drunk, you take a gulp, then you tilt your head over. Then you get a head rush.
Yeah.
I remembered him.
You
did it. Head, nothing. I kept doing it, and I thought, now I'm going to faint of headache. I finished the bottle.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like the way you feel when you drink water. Nothing. Only that now I feel disgusting because the red wine, I've always hated wine from that day. I went to sleep, disappointed, put the bottle back in my bag, I slept. In the morning I woke up, as sober as a judge. I took breakfast, showered, went to school.
You didn't even have a hangover?
I don't even know what that is. I felt absolutely zero. I went and I asked her, what is this thing that you gave me yesterday? She asked me why. Because it didn't do anything for me. She said, you didn't even feel tipsy? I said, I don't even know what tipsy means.
Yeah.
She said, Carol, then you have a problem. And little did I know that that statement would follow me for 20 years. I didn't drink again until Form 6. In our family, the only place you are allowed to go to sleep out is if you are going for a kesha or an overnight vigil for our international viewers. So I lied, I'm going for an overnight vigil in the church. That time we're going to a club in Westland. I don't have money. She comes from a rich family. Now with my boyfriend, both come from very wealthy families. So me, I'm sorted for the night. Good. Everyone took a taxi from home to there and they paid the taxi.
So this is the boyfriend that you had?
Yeah, those days there was no M-Pesa.
Yeah.
So I used the landline.
Yeah.
Yeah, we meet here, I'll pay for the taxi. That's what they did. So we went at a club in Westlands. But just to say, I'm saying this from a Christian angle now. I think if you've grown up in a Christian background, when you enter a place you're not supposed to, somehow your spirit tells you. But you have a way of blocking it. So me, I could tell I'm not supposed to be here. I know it.
Yeah.
But now here I have my cigarettes. They say, then my best friend tells me, well, last year I brought you booze and you didn't get high. Let's see what happens today. So they bought me, there was a very popular cider those days. It was a canned cider, which had really more sugar than alcohol. But the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, each can is 300 ml. Fifth one.
And this is a person who doesn't ordinarily drink.
I don't drink.
But you're not getting...
I'm not feeling anything. So for me, like we call in addiction circles, my tolerance levels for alcohol have always been dangerously very high. The sixth one is one that took me out. Because I remember lighting up my cigarette, I couldn't finish it, I needed to use the washroom. So on my way to the washroom, I fell. And the next thing I remember is finding myself now in her house, in their house. They lived in Kikuyu. In night morning. How I got into I don't know how I got there. All I know is that now I'm feeling sick, I'm shaking, I'm doing everything, I'm vomiting. She's trying to give me eggs, I can't eat eggs. I have a headache, that's what is called a hangover. I said I'll never drink alcohol again. But we are told, never say never. Because what you negate has a way of coming back to you. So the following year I was privileged to leave the country. I was to do a degree in Eastern Asia. I was to do two years in Asia and 2 years in Australia. And not until my parents had money, they did a harambe. Those days
now, back to this day. Yes. You finally went home and still said you were from the Kagia.
Oh yes. Children get craftier with every generation. I could tell when my parents are in and when they are not. So I knew what time. Yeah. So I entered straight to bed. And they came later in the evening. The Kagia was so tiring.
You've been worshipping the whole night.
Of course. Gosh. So my parents did a harambe fundraising the following year for me to go.
Yeah.
And that was for me to pave way for the other four behind me.
Yeah.
Firstborns are supposed to be the gatekeepers.
At this point in time, did your parents know that you were drinking?
They had known once, because before I went, there's a cousin who called my brother and I for a drink, and we got so wasted. And the following day, even before we got home, he called my parents and said, your children are drunk. So me, I thought I'll not even travel, but everything had been paid, so I left the country. And on landing there, I knew here I was not going to stay. I hated that country right from the word go.
Yeah.
My spirit and the spirit of that place refused. So in addiction, like I said, there is something called tolerance, whereby if you are drinking 2 beers, they are no longer working for you. So you need to take like 4 beers to have the same effect you had initially. So for me, I realized I hated beer. Beer was just making me full, and giving me gas and taking me to the washroom. So I quickly moved to hard liquor. And for me, hard liquor is where I stayed. And hard liquor, for anybody who is watching, is the fastest way to get addicted to alcohol. Hard liquor is very addictive. And that's why we have so many cases of functional alcoholics. Functional alcoholics do not become alcoholics because of beer, not the brown bottle, but because of spirits.
When you say functional alcoholic, what exactly do you mean for the sake of everybody else?
A functional alcoholic is someone who drinks and works at the same time.
Yeah.
They are unable to function properly without alcohol in their systems.
Oh.
And unfortunately, we have so many people in the corporate world, from CEOs to people in high rank positions who are functional alcoholics, and you'll find such people actually keep whiskeys or brandies in their offices. Okay, because they need that shot to work on the feel-good hormone in the brain called the dopamine.
Yeah.
You see? And if you tell a functional alcoholic to stay for 2 days without alcohol, observe them. They can't function. They become irrational. They become irritable. You can just look at them in a funny way and they snap at you. You see? So they need it in their systems to work. So I moved to spirits, and in that country they also smoke a lot of marijuana. I started smoking marijuana. But for me it also had no effect somehow. So after 2 months I left marijuana. But by this time I was doing up to 2 packets of cigarettes a day. And those are 40 sticks. And ultimately my classes started suffering. Because there's no way you can be able to go to class and study when you're having a hangover. So those are the days cell phones had just come into the market around the world. And I was blessed to have one. So my lecturer started noticing this girl, and it was easy to notice, we're only 2 Africans in that class. So they started writing emails back home that your daughter doesn't come to class. Is she okay? Is she still in the country? We can see her in the system, but we don't see her in class. So what my father would do is that he'd send me an email and tell me, we're going to call you at a certain time.
Yeah.
So by the time he's planning to call me, I am as sober as a judge. So we'll call and have a conversation. He'll ask me, what are these back and forth emails I'm getting with your lecturers? You don't go to class. I'm like, maybe, there's a communication breakdown, the English. Maybe people are not understanding each other. And he would buy into that lie.
Yeah.
And immediately we finished that conversation. I ran to a 7-Eleven and buy my booze and continue. But my life in that particular nation was so crazy that I got into so many accidents, car accidents, because you're in cars with people who are driving who are drunk. The people of that nation, they're constantly high. Nearly raped so many times when you go to the club because I'm wasted. But I always used to go out in trousers somehow. So
you made friends there?
Oh, very quickly.
Who were drinking mates?
My best friend was, and she passed on, unfortunately. She died of alcohol-induced problems. And she was also a very heavy smoker. So I went through so many things that I am alive today. I think I'm just a product of prayer and
the grace of God.
And the grace of God and His mercy upon my life. So in that country, you cannot, as a foreigner, you cannot live alone. Life is very expensive.
Yeah.
And so we used to cost share. My house had girls from other countries, from Botswana, Nigeria, different countries around the world. So you cost share. And my housemates used to tell me, Carol, the way you're going to die. And one particular weekend I had gone into an accident, broke my arm. No one knew where I was for a whole weekend. Kumbe I was in a hospital somewhere. Came back to the house. That weekend, my housemates told me, Carol, the way you're going to die. And that's we're not going to watch you die. So the next weekend, if you go out, because those are different, we used to go to different states to party. And I had a boyfriend in that state. He was in a different university. And she told me, one of my roommates, the Kenyan, told me, if you go next weekend, you'll come back and find we have left the house for you because we are not going to watch you die here. I thought these girls were joking. So me and my broken arm, that week I was good.
With the broken arm, you're still going out? Yes,
but I was going to class. I tried to be a good girl. Friday came, weekend fever. Got onto the train, went to that other state, partied with my broken hand. Now with my broken hand, I'm using it as a weapon. So people are just buying me drinks. Sunday afternoon, took the train back. And true to their word,
they had
left, and I was left for a note. And unfortunately, it happened to be at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So now, I can't afford this kind of rent. It's impossible. So I have 2 choices, either to become a vagabond or to come back to Kenya.